Welcome to today's video. First, we'll set the stage. In U.S. travel, your I-94 admission record controls your lawful stay. This is not a suggestion. It is the controlling record. In this video, I will explain why the I-94 trumps passport stamps, conversations at the border, and even your return ticket. Then, I'll show you practical steps to check and fix errors, compare myths versus facts, and walk through the consequences of getting it wrong. Finally, we'll test your knowledge with short quizzes and wrap up with key takeaways and resources. Next, let's clarify the stakes. During periods of increased scrutiny, a CBP officer can grant a shorter stay than the maximum you expected. Even if you talked about a later departure, or even if a passport stamp shows something different, the electronic I-94 is what counts. Therefore, travelers must verify the I-94 right after entry. This proactive check prevents accidental overstays. Now, here's our roadmap. We will cover the I-94's authority, the officer's discretion, practical steps to check and correct, myths versus facts, and real-world timelines. We will also include quizzes to reinforce learning and conclude with key takeaways. Moving forward, here's the cold truth. The CBP officer at entry determines your period of stay and records it electronically in the I-94 system. The admit until date on that record is legally binding. Verbal statements, passport stamps, and return tickets do not change it. If dates differ, the electronic I-94 wins. Overstaying even by 1 day can cause serious consequences, including visa voidance and unlawful presence bars. Therefore, always check your electronic I-94 immediately after entry. Before we proceed, a brief but important disclaimer. This video is educational and not legal advice. It does not create an attorney-client relationship. Immigration rules can be nuanced, and situations vary. For personalized guidance, consult a qualified immigration attorney and verify details with official sources such as CBP and USCIS. Continuing on, if the date you expected differs from the electronic I-94, verify the record online and document it with screenshots. If you see a clear clerical error, take action before the earlier date expires. The correct process is to contact a deferred inspection site or your local CBP port of entry, explain the discrepancy concisely, and provide supporting evidence, such as your confirmed return ticket. If CBP clarifies that the date is intentional and based on discretion, then you must honor that date and adjust your travel plans to depart on or before the I-94 date. Now let's visualize the timeline. On day 0, you enter the United States. Within 24 hours, you should check your I-94 online. If there's a mismatch, gather evidence, such as your return ticket, and contact deferred inspection promptly, well before the admit until date. If CBP confirms a clerical error, they can correct it, and you should confirm the updated record. If CBP states it was a discretionary decision, you should immediately adjust your plans and depart by the I-94 date. Any delay increases risk, and overstaying begins the day after the admit until date passes. Next, let's correct common misunderstandings. First, the return ticket date does not control your stay. Only the electronic I-94 does. Second, passport stamps and verbal statements are not controlling if the electronic I-94 shows a different date. Third, officer discretion is manifested in the I-94's admit until date. Finally, even a single day of overstay can have consequences, so leaving on or before the I-94 date is essential. Continuing, here are simplified consequences. Any overstay past the I-94 admit until date can void a non-immigrant visa under INA 222G, often requiring a new visa issued in the home country. Accruing unlawful presence of 180 days or more can trigger a 3-year bar, and 1 year or more can trigger a 10-year bar under INA 212A-9B. These rules are nuanced and exceptions exist, so consult a qualified attorney for personal advice. Building on that, here is a quick markdown walkthrough. Go to the official CBP I-94 portal and retrieve your most recent I-94. Verify, admit until date, and save a screenshot. If you identify what appears to be a clerical error, gather evidence such as your itinerary and return ticket. Then, contact a deferred inspection site promptly. After CBP takes action, confirm the correction reflected in your online I-94 record. To zoom out, the big picture is about confirmation, correction, and compliance. Confirm your record quickly, correct errors early, and comply with the deadline on your I-94. Time works against you, so acting early is vital. Documentation helps demonstrate that a discrepancy is a clerical error rather than a request for more time. Now a quick quiz. Question: which document controls your last day to stay in the United States? Option A, your electronic I-94. Option B, your passport stamp. Option C, your return flight ticket. Option D, what the officer verbally said at entry. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is your electronic I-94. The I-94 is the legally binding record that controls your lawful period of stay. Stamps, tickets, and verbal statements do not override it. Next quiz. You notice a mismatch between expectations and the I-94's admit, until, date. What should you do first? Option A, ignore it. Option B, check your I-94 and contact deferred inspection promptly before the earlier date expires. Option C, rely on your ticket date. Option D, wait for the system to correct itself. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to check your I-94 and contact deferred inspection promptly before the earlier date expires. Acting early is crucial, and you should provide documentation to support your request for correction. As we near the end, remember these key points. The I-94 controls your lawful stay. Check it immediately after entry. If there's a clerical error, seek correction promptly through deferred inspection. If the date reflects officer discretion, depart by that date. Overstays can void visas and cause long-term bars, so do not take the risk. In summary, your admit until date on the I-94 dictates your lawful stay. Proactive checking prevents costly mistakes. Act early, document everything, and comply with the deadline. This approach protects your ability to travel in the future. Finally, thank you for watching. If this video helped, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell us about your experiences with checking your I-94 in the comments. Your insights can help others avoid costly mistakes.